Today's topic, Invisible Disabilities, is presented to you by the Determined TV live show. The Determined TV is set up and run by stroke survivors, families and friends who believe sharing their experience helps everyone. However, this program is not to provide medical advice. For medical advice, please consult with your doctors, neurologists and therapists.
Today is about invisible disabilities. We have our strokes and whatnot, and, nobody kind of recognizes it and whatnot. So what that means exactly is, we go through our rehab and whatnot, and we look fine on the outside, kind of like this paperclip, right? And we have our disability and whatnot, and it looks like this on the inside, right? But and then it goes back to this aspect. And it goes,
It's okay.
it goes back to this aspect, and it looks fine, right? But it cannot hold this still. So, what we're actually talking about now is, when we have a stroke, it's not sexy. It's not sexy. So, nobody comes in after you have your stroke and is like, hey, let's throw a party for you. Yay, you had a stroke. So, this episode, we're going to go through the journey, and, we have Alicia and Brady, they're not going to come on and talk about, Brady's not going to talk about how, it was all butterflies and rainbows when he had his stroke. And, Alicia's not going to come in and talk about how, she went on her journey and was thrusted back into her dentistry aspect. So without further ado, let's go ahead and run the introduction video.
Let's meet today's guests.
Cam Compton is a stroke survivor. Her journey of recovery started after she suffered a stroke in 2012, the day after her 52nd birthday. At the beginning, she could not walk or understand what was happening. After 8 years, she regained most of her functions and explored many things she did not touch before stroke, including yoga, tai chi, circuit training. She helped create a number of online media programs, including hosting Brain Injury Talk Show and Hand in Hand Show, the podcast program for Stroke Focus. Dr. Alicia Galvin has been a special care, hospital and geriatric dentist for 20 years. She was born and raised in San Antonio, Texas. Both her parents were doctors of pharmacy, and her father was also a medical doctor. She became a professor at the University of Texas Health Science Center at San Antonio, 28 years old. At the age of 32, Galvin suffered a brain aneurysm rupture and had G-coils placed to obtund the aneurysm. As the aneurysm was not completely obtunded, she had to go through 2 subsequent coiling surgeries. The sudden turn of life and challenges associated with the recovery cost Alicia her first marriage. 10 years later, Dr. Galvin has found a wonderful gentleman who understands and appreciates her as a survivor. Professionally, she is thriving as a nursing home dentist.
Brady is a stroke survivor of 17 years this year. Before his stroke, he spent 13 years in the U.S. Air Force. Post-stroke, Brady is without feeling and limited mobility on his right side. Brady has competed in 5Ks and presently working toward his first drug-free bodybuilding competition. He is a published author, A Life of Commas, A Soldier's Story. He is also an ambassador for the American Stroke Association. Brady currently sits on the board for United Way of Boone County, Illinois, and resides in Boone County, Illinois with his wife and 2 sons.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much for that introduction. I loved it. Now, as we discussed, this is about hidden disabilities, but we're gonna go ahead and, you know, just dive in just a little bit. We want to dive into the beginning aspect. You know, we want the true feelings of, you know, what happened in the beginning. So Alicia, let's go
Yes.
ahead and jump in with you then.
Uh-huh.
I can hear you too.
Yeah.
I hear
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Yay.
So you can hear me now, Brady?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So we want the emotional aspect then, Brady. So, you know, you were asking your mother in the beginning, why me? Why me? Then your mother said, why not you, baby? Now I want that emotional connection and why you were asking where you were at, you know, when you're asking your mother, why me? Why me? I want that raw detail.
Well, it was crushing because I had run 6 miles a day before my surgery, and I was crushed because I'd gone from being able to run, preparing for a marathon. I had run like I've done every day, 6 to 10 to 13 miles. And I had come from a surgery and I could not talk. I could not feel the right side of my body. It hurt. It hurt my feelings to the core. I could not figure out why I could not speak clearly. All I could remember was that every time I tried to talk, my mother would rub ice on my lips because they thought that my lips were dry. And I could only get the words out of my mouth when my mother was looking at me. All I could say was, why me? It hurt. It hurt. People could say anything to me. Anybody could pull words and pull things out of a book, saying things to me. Doctors could say what could happen. But truthfully, honestly, all I could say was, why me? Why me?
Mm-hmm.
Why
Yep.
me?
Yep.
Anybody else? Why me?
Yeah.
Why me?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I'm in shape. I'm in shape. I'm serving,
Mm-hmm.
the military. And I'm a Christian. If God
Mm-hmm.
loves me, why me? And I'm just being honest,
And that's
and
exactly what we want. You know, we want the
Mm-hmm.
honesty, we want the raw emotions, Brady, and I
Yeah.
appreciate you coming with it. I really do. And now, Alicia, you were smack dab in the highest peak in your
I mean, I
career.
was I peaked too early. That's what I always did, unfortunately. Learned to read when I was 3, and I'm not what happened to me was, I always wanted to be in medicine. I come from a family of medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And when your mom, your dad, and your sister are all doctors, well, that's what you're going to be. And I was enthralled with medicine.
Yeah.
So when this happened to me, literally, talking to a colleague and doing my notes, doing my treatment notes back in the day when you just used to do, write them out. Boom, M60 went off in my head. I don't know what this is. I called in my own consult to the only endovascular hospital.
And
Yeah.
then after, so all this transpired and whatnot, and then what was your emotional state? Were you in the same one
Well,
as
you know
Brady?
what? But my emotional state though was, is my husband going to stand by my side?
Yeah.
And he didn't. He didn't. He
What a
did not.
dirtbag.
He did not.
What a dirtbag.
He, like I put him there. I put him where he is right now. I put him where he is right now. And I know that man, every time that he practices dentistry, he remembers me. You know, I was only 32. I used to run 7 to 10 a
Yeah.
day,
Yeah.
6 days a week, you know, because you have to
Mhm.
give your body one day
Yeah.
to go ahead and repair.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
So
people that will see,
essentially, you know, yeah, your life was on
my
point.
life was like
Yeah.
everywhere that I
And then
wanted it to be.
exactly.
Everywhere that I wanted to be.
The same mindset sounds like you had the same mindset as Brady. Like, why the heck did this have
We
to
were perfect. We
have to
thought that we
happen
were
to me?
perfect.
Yeah.
We thought
And
that we were
then
perfect
you know, this dirtbag was like, yeah, I'm gone.
because
Too
of me.
nice. Too nice. Now, Cam, you sustained your stroke, and what was your emotional state after your stroke, and after, you know, you essentially came to realize what was going on? What was your emotional state after, you know, you realized what exactly was going on?
So I work in the medical field and have for 30 something years. And so I knew about stroke, I thought, but I knew nothing,
Mm-hmm.
zero.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know what to expect. I didn't really have any feeling about it. I kept telling the nurses, I'm going home this weekend. And they would say, honey, you just, okay, you keep thinking that.
Yeah.
And, you know, the next weekend, and I wouldn't remember the weeks necessarily, but I would be like, I'm going home. Well, the day I thought I was going home, I actually was going to a rehab hospital
Mm.
and I was there for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And I worked my butt off.
Yeah.
But I didn't, you know, filters were gone and stuff. So I
Yep.
never, I had small pity parties, but I never realized the struggle that I was going to have
Yep.
up until even now at 9 years
Oh yeah.
post stroke. But
Yep.
my life has totally changed, and I have to give a positive on this. Um, I, I mean, I have up and downs, but you know, I've done podcasts. I've run a stroke support group. You know, I've overcome the things that I thought would be a problem. I've gotten married.
So your emotional
Yeah,
state right when you came to from your stroke is what we're looking for. What
yeah, I
was
know.
what
I
was
had
it?
no
Do you
idea. I mean,
remember?
I didn't have any idea what was going on, Mark.
Yeah.
Nothing. I,
Yeah.
I, and I didn't know. I wasn't upset. I wasn't
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah.
But you know, I've moved. I kept moving forward, and that's all I could
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. Yeah, is you know, and that's what is essential, you know, once, you know, if you know, because the most critical part of the recovery is the first 6 weeks. That's what they
Mm.
say anyways. That's what they say anyways, is the first 6 weeks. So, you know, if you can't get out of that funk that you're in, you need to reach out and find somebody, you know, to get you out of that funk. So what's going to happen now is we're going to jump into the hidden disabilities aspect of this, which is what this program is all about. We're going to jump into that right after this commercial break and dive right into it. So let's go ahead and roll the commercial break.
One of my biggest things is when I sit down. When I sit down, I can sit pretty square. I can sit pretty square, and a lot of times, I can cover up my hair, and so you don't see my scars,
Mhm.
and therefore, it's pretty covered up until somebody will ask me if I could help them with something. Um, at that point, especially with my build now that I lift weights, at that point, I usually have to tell them I can't pick that up, or I tell them or I ask them, could you please slow down? I can't walk that fast. Or I have to tell them, could you do me a favor? Could you open this, because I can't open this. I
Right
can't
here.
and turn it. I can't hold it.
Do
and turn
you-
it at the same.
Do you have trouble asking for help, Kim?
Yes. So
You-
I do, huh? Did you want me to answer that
Yes.
also? Okay. So I did in the beginning. I was a single parent and used to doing everything on my own. And it was very hard for me to start asking for help. But I do now. But I'm also married, and my husband usually can tell when I need help and will just step right in, or he'll ask me if I need help. So yes, now I do. But it took me a couple of 3 years to figure out I just can't do this all on my own, and had to ask for help.
I wanted to say, I've been challenged with a complex regional pain syndrome, which affected my central nervous system. And I was working at the time I had my stroke, I was working in Hollywood. So I knew that I couldn't when I was able to get back on my feet, that if I was going to photograph, I was going to have to retrain myself. So I had to retrain myself just to use one hand. I didn't tell anybody that I was having a stroke because I knew they would never let me shoot on the red carpets. One challenge I have faced, even through the healing of my hand, I still have limited use of my left hand. And often people walking the red carpet will ask me to take a picture using their cell phone. And when I tell them, I have difficulty, they don't understand how is she holding this huge professional camera, because I learned to just use my right hand and shoot. But holding that little small camera literally caused me so much pain because of my nerves. And so sometimes I'm challenged with them thinking I'm just like not trying to be cordial, and take the picture. They don't realize because I don't look, no, I'm using this big camera. So that's a challenge, has been a challenge for me. But I learned one thing, I had to be quiet and just handle things and not tell people a lot, because I knew people would prejudge me. They were already prejudging me because I was a woman and I was a photographer, I was Black, and I was small. So I knew if I had a stroke, I wouldn't stand a chance. So I kept, but even getting my disability was hard, because even the judge said I look normal. Until they asked me to raise my left hand. And once I raised my left hand, at that time it was so, the pain was so provoking that a tear rolled down my face, and the judge granted me my disability. So I understand the challenges with what they call these invisible disabilities that we've had to deal with. And it is awakening that we have to get people that all of our strokes are unique and we're affected so differently, because I too thought I knew about strokes, and it wasn't until I had one that I'm still learning.
Yeah, me
Or-
too.
Where's Hirsch? I don't see Hirsch.
Clem. No, this is Clem. Hey, Clem.
Oh,
Hello, how are you?
Good.
I just want to know, does everybody feel better? I mean, we've taken all this time talking about how miserable we can be, and we're in this supposedly to try to help each other be better. This,
Well, let me
yes,
tell you.
yes, it's true. This is an invisible kind of thing, but you can't make it go away by making it invisible. You have to live with it. So you cannot be afraid to tell somebody, I've had a brain injury or a stroke. You want help, you have to ask for it.
Yeah, I had somebody approach me when I was sitting in an arena, and I was sitting in a handicapped area, and they told me I had to move. And I said, why? And they said, well, this is a handicapped section. And I said, well, I am handicapped. I said, I can take you out to my car and show you my decal. I can stand up and try to walk, but they still wanted me to move. And I said, I can't do those stairs. And that's where the rest of my family is sitting. So you do have to educate people that it's not always seen. That, they don't understand.
I have gotten out of my car at a Walmart, and I hung my blue, and a woman said, well, she asked me, she was like, do you know you're not supposed to hang your parents? I said, ma'am, I said, I'm not going into this. I said, but I said, I'm going to tell you, at 31 years old, as a military veteran, had a massive stroke. I said, I can't feel the right side of my body from the top of my head to the bottom of my foot. I said, I tell you, I have headaches. I have headaches 3 days, 4 days out of my 7 days. I said, I have 2 children. I said, the doctors told me that I'd never be able to speak clearly. The doctors tell me I'd never go back to work. The doctors
that's so sad, Brady. I'm going to stop you right there, because that's so sad. Because why should we have to explain ourselves?
But I know, but the reason why I did this was just because I wanted to give her information, because it is hidden. Because she was thinking that because I was a young man, and that because I hadn't taken any more than 2 or 3 steps, so I gotten into I guess you would say, my limp. She didn't know this, okay? And I guess being offended, quote unquote, she thought that she was going to tell me something. But that instead of saying something mean or saying something harsh, because all that would close her ears. Open her ears to understand for somebody else that might be in that parking spot. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Because that to me was for somebody else. Because I let her know. I said, you must understand. I said, ma'am, strokes aren't just age. They're not just age. I said, I had my massive stroke at 31. I said, I said, I want you to understand that. And she apologized. I said, there's no need to apologize. I said, what I want you to do is just understand.
So Clem, is that kind of what you were wanting to hear?
Well, in a sense, what I'm trying to say is, for instance, you're in a situation, I just tell them, what's your name? And HIPAA prevents any, you don't need to ask any questions. HIPAA covers it. Now I can have you arrested, matter to me. I'm not going to argue with you. I make invisible disability look good. I'm 70 years old, but it's like, I don't put up with no
I don't have to
nonsense.
explain myself to you.
Exactly.
And that's how I feel. I don't have to explain myself to you. But you know what? If I go off, see, and that's the problem with having an aneurysm rupture. You have blood that is in the brain, and the aneurysm rupture, it makes me see red. It makes me see red when people try me. And I've learned to go ahead and just cool it off, cool it now, I have to do that because I will go off on somebody. And I have had to learn that is a problem with people that have had brain aneurysm ruptures.
Well,
I have to, I've learned how to cool it off. I've learned how to cool it off because I see red, and I will not, I'm not going to go ahead and put myself in making myself fool.
So
It's not, but you know what? If people really want to know, I will go ahead and calmly go ahead. I've learned, you know what? You don't even know my medical history and you're not privy to it, but there is an issue. So you need to go ahead and let me do me because they don't need to know. And
So
that's
Brady,
the
I think
problem.
Brady had something he wanted to say.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
It's just my biggest thing, like, you know, the book that I wrote is
Mhm.
it's just all about not only are we handicapped, but we're
Mhm.
capable. We're
Mhm.
handicapable. So that's all. That's
Mhm.
That's a good thought. I never thought about it like that.
I mean,
So
I
Clem,
am like totally highly functioning, you know, I am like highly functioning and I praise God for that. But, you know, I have, you know, like when I do my treatment notes, I have a problem doing my treatment notes because it's like I get distracted. It's like the ADD. Like that's what happened to me. So I'm just like, you have no idea. Like, don't even come, like, please, like, you don't want to see the bull see red. So I think that the biggest problem that I have, honestly, is you know, people see the outside and they say, oh, she looks, you know, oh, she looks so nice, she looks so good. But the problem is that they don't understand the uproar that can happen because there's a lot of aggression that can happen after you've had, you know, like a brain attack. That's what I call it, a brain attack. So it's like, tread lightly with me because
but people aren't
you know,
going to know that, you know,
yeah, tread lightly because just because I look like a certain way, don't, I mean,
so
and I'm sorry, like I said, I'm a fiery, feisty Latina.
yeah.
Don't even think, I mean, I was already like that before, but now it's like even worse. But I've learned how to calm it down. I've learned how to calm it down.
So Clem, do you have more, or is there somebody else who has a
I have a
question?
question.
Well, I would just like to point out one thing. Of all of the bad feelings and all of the anger and everything else, did it make it any better? It didn't make it go away. You know what you have to do. You've got to live with this. They don't. They'll never understand it, and you can't
They'll
explain
never
it to them.
understand it. No,
Right.
they'll never
They
understand it, and they can't
So,
understand it.
right. So don't beat yourself up because they can't.
Yeah.
But it hurts sometimes. It really does hurt sometimes. It really
I
does
know
Absolutely.
it.
hurt sometimes. It does hurt.
I
Absolutely.
know it does.
We all know. So are there any other questions or comments?
Yeah, I have a question. So my
Yeah.
name is Phil, and I had my stroke about 13 years ago. And I guess the question is for all the panel there, those three and the other folk. So is it better? What do you feel that it's better to keep our disability hidden? Is it better to keep it hidden because a lot of people just don't know. When I had the stroke, I had no idea about what strokes are. And by the time I got the stroke, well, you know, it's too late. And then it took me a whole bunch of time to be able to learn about the stroke itself.
I have to keep it hidden. I'm going to tell you right straight up. I'm going to tell you straight up.
Wait a second, Alicia. Wait a second.
I'm sorry.
Let's let him finish.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know that he wasn't finished.
Yeah, Phil, you finished?
So I guess the question is: it better just to be able to keep it kind of hidden?
In my line of work, because I have to, you know, like treat people, you know, like medically, I have to keep it hidden. I have to keep it hidden. Now, if if a patient, because I deal with the elderly, if there's a patient that, like tries to project something onto me about, well, I've had a stroke. And then that's when I'll go ahead. I don't let admin know, it's kind of like, it's stigma, it's a stigma. You can't let, the admin know, you can't let, the PCPs know. You just have to go ahead and keep it hidden. And I've actually been told by the higher ups in my company, and don't even share that with anybody. So we do have, in my line of work, we do have to keep it hidden. And it's so hard to keep it hidden. But that's why I've, trained myself to go ahead and just, okay.
So Brady, what do you think?
Cam and Brady,
Well,
what are your thoughts?
Well, let me tell you, I'm going to be honest with you. I post stroke, I went back to work and I worked at the Social Security Administration, and of course, I dealt with hundreds of people with disabilities. And I myself am all about knowledge. Knowledge is the key. Growing up with a mother that has her PhD, and taught college and high school my whole life. Knowledge is what she taught me about. And so if I can save a life, I would tell anybody about my history, about my knowledge about my stroke, about saving the life of their friends, their family. So I am the one that will tell anybody about my stroke, will tell anything that may save their life, because I've been through this. I've been through this. So I am more than willing, whether they are young, whether they are of age, I will at any time tell, because there is nothing bad about it. It's just like anything else that you've been through. Why not share? Why not share?
Absolutely. I agree with that.
You have to share with the right people, though. You have to share with the right people. That's the thing. You have to share with the right people.
Thank you.
So
Thank you, Phil, for that question.
I want to step in. I want to step in here and address Phil's question. So, Phil, it doesn't just apply to those that we don't know. This also applies to people that are close to us. Sometimes we portray that, we are fine, we're good, and I know that Brady just experienced this the other day. That sometimes the people around us, are comfortable. They know how we operate and whatnot. They know how far we can go, or they think they know, anyways, how far we can go. I push myself to the limits. I think that I can do a lot of things. In essence, I try to put stuff together. It might take the normal person 30 minutes. It might take me 5 hours, it's things like that. Right. And my memory is horrible, so the expectation from my family members, not going to name any names, but that I can do, XYZ. And sometimes, I might need help, and sometimes I just can't do it, and, I know, Brady, you just moved and we kind of talked on it a little bit. Sometimes, I know that you are training to be lift weights and whatnot. So, sometimes you can lift those things, but, your balance is off and you just can't carry it, because your foot might turn in or something like that, and, the people around us forget, it's not that they don't know what we went through, because they were there, but sometimes they just forget, that, hey, sometimes they might need that helping hand, so it's Phil, it's kind of not that, that we don't hide it. And when like I was applying for jobs also, after I got my MBA, I was applying for jobs, and that was one of the things too. I was wondering, I was like, do I hide that I had a stroke? Do I not hide that I had a stroke? You know, and essentially, I applied to shoot hundreds of jobs, um, and it's just, it's a liability in essence, it's just hard. It's a hard question to answer. It really is. It's all about what you're comfortable with. I'm comfortable with that I had a stroke. I'm comfortable with myself, and I think that all comes with time. When in the beginning of the show, we talked about, where we were at our lowest point. I didn't get a chance to, talk about my lowest point. I was 15. I didn't know what the heck was going on. Like I said in the beginning, my parents weren't coming in and weren't like, woohoo, my son just had a stroke, nothing like that.
Exactly. That's how my mom
There,
was.
there was nothing like that going on, and, and nothing like that. So, it's all perspective, and it's all, a matter of, as Cam was saying, it's all a matter of being able to pick yourself up and push forward. So, with that, Cam, I want to ask if you have any concluding thoughts for this invisible disabilities segment.
So I still am on Phil's question because that's a good one, and I think that putting it out there is the best thing because it gives other people who maybe don't have a disability information. So that's all I want to say about that.
All right, Alicia, do you have any concluding thoughts for
Yes.
this one?
My concluding thought is that I have to be and glamour girl, so I have to perform, like I literally yank teeth out of people's heads. So the premise of someone who has had an issue like me, it's just like a hidden thing, it's a hidden thing that I have to like keep hidden. It's not a nice thing, but if the patient does not see fit to go ahead and if they're problematic, then it's like, well, I can go ahead and share my story with you, but I have to present a strong front. And I mean, like I said, I studied for 12 years to get where I am, and I'm like at a crossroads right now. So I have to go ahead and, present a strong front, because nobody wants anybody working on them, or nobody's family wants anybody
with no
working
confidence,
on
right?
I mean, it's just like boom. It's just like boom. You have to lay it down on the line. So I mean, 100%. That's just me. I mean, it's nice to go ahead and discuss it with like family and friends. But when it comes to professional life, because I'm a workaholic. So when it comes to professional life, you have to go ahead and present a strong front. And that's just how I say it.
There it is. Strong front. Brady, how
That's-
about you,
that's-
brother? How about you, brother? You have any concluding thoughts on this topic, man? How about you?
Yes, I do. Let me tell you, I can remember this small piece. The day I got brought home, the woman that I'd asked to marry me 3 months before, she left to go get groceries. My mother had gone home back to Kentucky, my grandmother. I said I was going to kill myself. I said I was going to hang myself.
Wow.
In closet. I got it. I was able to scoot over and get a chair, and I took a sheet, and I said I was going to go ahead and throw it away. I throw it over the bar where the clothes were hanging. I sat down and I cried because I said, Brady, you can't even get up on this chair and stand to jump
There you
off.
go. Yeah.
And I cried.
No, brother, you don't do that.
Hold on. From that point, I remembered and I thought about something. And I said, Brady, you have always loved yourself because God loved you.
There you go.
And you have
There
got
you go.
to
And that's a good thought.
fall back in love with you every morning, no matter what the pain, no matter what the situation, no matter what the trouble. Fall in love with yourself every morning. That you wake up and your eyes fling open, because you know what? You may be broken, but you know what? Everybody loves broken things. Even when tacos are broken,
you still eat those things, baby.
Yeah.
Talking about those tacos. He knows that I love those tacos. That's why I'm the way that I am.
And I laugh at that every day. That's what I tell myself every day before I get out of the bed. So I tell all my people, my stroke survivors, we are all broken, but people still love us and we still love ourselves because we, just like tacos, are still lovable. Because we're still just as good.
I love that.
Yeah,
there you go.
I like that
You
too.
must eat some crispy tacos because
I'd
see,
also
I eat the
use
soft
cookies.
tacos. I eat the soft tacos, Brady. I eat the soft
There you
tacos
go.
because those soft tacos ain't never broken. Okay.
There you go, brother. There you go. I appreciate it. Hey, thank you so much, Alicia, Brady, and Cam, and audience. I appreciate your guys' input and questions and all that jazz. I appreciate you. So let's go ahead and roll the credits and all that.
Right now. Sweet